My name is Mel and welcome to this short chat about one of the major sites in London. And with me today is my daughter, Anna.
Hello.
And a few weeks ago, we both went to the British Museum, although not together. And it was only later that we found that we had both been.
Yeah.
So I suppose one of the important things to say about the British Museum is that it's free. It is also one of the world's largest and greatest museums. And I suppose
Controversially.
Oh, yes, it's a controversial museum, that's true. But I would also point out that if you're thinking about, oh, well, if it's so huge, what can be so interesting about Britain? Actually, although it's called the British Museum, remarkably little of its contents are about Britain. Wouldn't you agree, Anna?
Yeah.
And so you went, as we were saying, in December. Do you happen to recall which tube station you would have gone to?
No.
I think it's not far from...
Holborn? No.
Yeah, it's probably in that area. Russell Square, anyway,
Yeah.
is where the British Museum is. Now, sometimes of year, you've got to queue. I know I didn't queue, but I think I was there on a Friday morning in late November. No queue, just walk straight in.
Yeah. And I also went on a Monday morning in early December.
A Monday morning, so
Yeah.
yes, on those occasions, which probably is not very indicative, you didn't have to queue.
Yeah.
And you walked straight in,
Yeah.
other than the security check.
Yep. Yeah. There's a security check. So if you go on in weekdays, I think in the daytime, it's good because there are less crowds, but also you do get the school trips there. So you do have kids running around.
Yes.
But
yeah, that's true.
that's not too bad.
So when you enter the British Museum, from the main entrance certainly, one of the first things that you go into is the main court. And what's your view? How do you find that?
I do think it's very impressive. I think one of the things about the British Museum is the artefacts inside the museum itself are very interesting and nice to look at, but also the setting or the building in which they sit is very impressive itself.
Yeah, it's very dramatic.
And it's worth going to really just to see the building.
Yeah, and the main court is a fantastic space that was created apparently fairly recently. The central building, this was open to the air, and the central building had other smaller, more recent buildings around it, which they removed and then roofed in the central court using that very dramatic. It almost looks like a spider's web, and apparently none of the pieces of glass are exactly the same shape as any of the others. They're all very engineered in the glass roof, and it's stunning and it's beautiful. And the central part of the courtyard is the library, where people like Karl Marx, when he was researching Das Kapital, and oh, good Lord, a list of other authors will appear above my head now.
I think Oscar Wilde,
yes,
maybe?
Oscar Wilde, thank you, Anna, as ever. Better memory than I have. So a lot of famous authors work there. Was it open? Did you have a look?
It was
there?
open, and that's the first time I've been into it. And it's very pretty, very old. It is really interesting. They have information about all the authors or philosophers or general famous people that have ever gone and worked in that library. And it is really interesting to go in there.
Well, when I went in there, you couldn't actually. You could go into the lower central space and look around and take photographs.
Yeah.
But you couldn't actually progress further into it. There was some information. There was some information about the various people that had worked there. I think at the moment they're sort of pondering how they can provide better public access.
Yeah, because I thought it was a public library, but I don't know.
I think you have to be a member in order to use it. I don't think a member of the public gives you access to the library and the books.
Okay.
So after you'd been into the library, where did you head next? And indeed, why did you head next?
So I was following a free audio guide tour by Rick Steves. So if you just typed into the internet Rick Steves British Museum tour, that would come up. So I was following his tour, which talks about when you first go into the into the grand courtyard bit, and it talks about the library as well. And then the tour focuses on the ancient civilization part of the museum.
So it doesn't visit anything to do with Britain or
No,
the
so
Americas
it looks
or
at
India or China.
No, it only looks at
All of which are covered in the British Museum and
Yeah.
have major sections.
No, the Rick Steves tour looks at the Egyptian exhibition, which is probably one of the museum's most famous exhibitions.
It's supposedly the largest collection of Egyptian artifacts outside of Egypt.
Yeah. And then it covers the Assyrian exhibition, and then also covers ancient Greece exhibition, which including the Parthenon or Elgin Marthals.
Yes, I noticed that because I think his app maybe was recorded a few years ago when, and I think the British Museum did also used to call the marbles taken from the Parthenon by Lord Elgin and then sold to the British Museum. The British Museum used to call those the Elgin marbles. But now, when you go to the British Museum, it is signed the Parthenon marbles.
Yeah.
But Rick Steves still refers to them as the Elgin marbles. But I think this is one of the controversial elements because the Greeks would be very keen to get back the Parthenon marbles.
Yeah.
Because I think there's virtually none of the original marbles left in position in Athens on the Parthenon.
Yeah. But it was very interesting to see them, and there are lots and lots of the Parthenon marbles there.
Yes.
But so Rick Steves' tour just gives an overview and highlights rather than, a in-depth, dry, tour. It's just the highlights and a storyline runs through it and music and discussion. So it is really good in that regard. Also, the tour, which is sort of part of the Egyptian exhibition, covers the Rosetta Stone.
One of the most famous Egyptian artifacts in the world.
Yeah. And probably the most famous artifact in the British Museum.
Either that or the Elgin Parthenon marbles.
Yeah.
Yes, I would think so. I mean, certainly on any day that I have been to the British Museum, and I've probably maybe been half a dozen times.
Yeah.
There's a crowd around the
Rosetta Stone.
Rosetta Stone. It's not, I have to say, in a way, it's not that interesting because it's just hieroglyphs on the top and then a demotic Egyptian in the middle and ancient Greek on the bottom. So it's a lot of writing on a quite big stone.
But it's famous because it was the artifacts that allowed people to finally be able to translate ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs.
Yes, because up until that stage, people have been guessing
Yeah.
and got it wildly wrong.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the Rosetta Stone is another one of the disputed artifacts because it was found, I believe, by Napoleonic soldiers and packed up and taken away. And so we got it via a rather dubious route. But it's interesting nonetheless, interesting to see.
Yeah.
As are some of the enormous Egyptian statues of Ramesses that there are there. And then you go upstairs to where there's a huge collection of mummies, Egyptian mummies and the caskets and the painted. But when you went there, you were on a Monday morning, was it crowded?
It was quite crowded, because in that area, at least the rooms are smaller or they're filled with a lot of artifacts. Yeah, so they are very full. And then also, I didn't get to see the whole of the Assyrian exhibition because the British Museum is redoing all of the Assyrian exhibition right now.
Right.
And reordering it, which will mean that the Rick Steves tour will be out of date by the time they redo.
Yes, and
Yeah.
he may well rework it. They have been known to rework the walking tours.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll certainly have to do a review and a better explanation.
Yeah.
So if we were to say, well, okay, the Rick Steves walking tour doesn't work, and I hope it does, because I really enjoy these things. But let's say it doesn't work. Is there an alternative?
Yeah, so you can buy, you can rent an audio guide from the museum, but also they have their own app.
So renting the audio guide would presumably cost money.
Yep. And the British Museum app you can download, which is for free, but there are in-app purchases. So they have introductions to areas for free. So they'd have an overview introduction of the Egyptian exhibition or the Assyrian exhibition. But if you wanted in-depth guide about a certain artifact, you'd have to pay for that. And apparently it's between £2 or £3 per thing. Or you can buy your whole language for £6 or something for certain areas. So
do you mean the whole guide for, say, Greece, the Greek displays in your language, which might be Persian?
Yeah, I think so.
Right.
I'm not entirely sure. But there are in-app purchases.
But obviously the Rick Steves one is free.
It is free. But also there's a large chunk of the British Museum app that's free as well.
Yeah, and it's important to say that the Rick Steves app only looks at the Assyrian, Egyptian and Greek, which is a very large section of the museum, whereas clearly the British Museum's own app will cover absolutely everything to that. So how long did your visit take?
I was there probably for 3 hours.
Gosh.
But I definitely could have stayed for longer. And
so you were mostly in the main court, the library, and then those 3 ancient areas we spoke about, right?
And the gift shop. The British Museum does have a good gift shop, actually. And
were you just perusing, or did you buy?
I did buy something. I bought a book. But I honestly think if you were getting presents for people, it'd be quite a good place to get presents. And it's not that expensive.
Okay. You enjoyed it?
I enjoyed it. I would stay for longer.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we'll wrap that up there and say thank you very much, Anna.
It's okay.
And again, you know the drill, folks. If you've liked this video, if you found it useful, if you could comment, share, like, subscribe, all of those good things, they cost you nothing at all, will take you a little bit of time. That's all that I'm asking, because it would make a huge difference to a small channel like this. So, thanks again. Goodbye, Anna.
Bye.
Goodbye, people, and see you again.
Bye.